on this edition of the Center of It All. Storm clouds continue to swirl around Penn State, but the football team came together recently to raise money for kidney cancer research. The Nittany Lion volleyball program will be well represented at the London Olympic Games, and we caught up with Russ Rose and Mark Pavlik to get the scoop. And it's all about blueberries in this edition of Kitchen Encounters. These stories and more coming up next on the Center of It All. You know, it's been a tough year for the Penn State football program, but members of this year's squad took time out recently to raise money for kidney cancer research with their annual Live for Life event. And our Andrew Callista was there.
As tough times continue around the program, the Nittany Lion football team came out with a focus of knocking out kidney cancer and raised over $100,000 in the 10th annual Live for Life.
Live for Life is, it's a thing that I think brings us together. I think it helps us come together with the community also. It's a good opportunity for all of us to give back. To we get a lot of good stuff comes to us from playing football for Penn State, and it's an opportunity for us to really to give back to the community.
This year's format was slightly different under new strength coach Craig Fitzgerald, which pitted the offense versus the defense in events such as a van push, sled pulls, sandbag carries, and a tug of war to close the competition. But everyone on the field had the same goal: to get better.
They did this for Penn State and they did this for kidney cancer. So it was awesome. They gave more in this workout than they have all summer, and that's saying a lot because all summer long they've been pushing their face off. And so I think it was a great day. We got better as a team. We got better individually as far as getting stronger and in better conditioning by doing this. Most importantly, though, we got better as a family at Penn State, and we got better as a whole program helping kidney cancer. So it was awesome.
Starting quarterback Matt McGloin said the fans would love the new changes to this year's competition and that the new staff understood that this is what Penn State is all about.
Everyone understands that's the way we are here at Penn State. You know, we like to have fans involved. We like to talk. We like to get involved with as many things as we can. And Coach Fitzgerald understood that. Coach O'Brien understands that. You know, in a way it was tough. They did bring their own things in, but everybody adjusted to it when we made it work.
The Live for Life is the nation's largest student-athlete philanthropy. Founded after former Penn State receiver Scott Shirley's dad died of kidney cancer. The event is so popular, it has even reached the West Coast.
It's great. It's the only event that I know of that's like this. It's great to have somebody behind it. It's like you got a whole team, fighting for you and raising money. It really means a lot.
Willie, a kidney cancer survivor, never heard of Penn State football before Live for Life. Now his daughter Ashley has raised over $18,000 by knitting scarves for the cause. He is happy to see the local media covering the positives.
It's just wonderful that all the media and all the attention is on these guys for all the good things that they do.
If only the national media would take notice. For the Center of It All, I'm Andrew Callista.
You may have noticed some changes to the event in Andrew's package, as it was moved outside this year to the brand new lacrosse stadium. When we come back, we'll talk to Russ Rose and Mark Pavlik about several former Nittany Lions who will represent Team USA at the London Olympics. Welcome back to the Center of It All. The Penn State volleyball programs will be well represented at the London Olympic Games, and Andrew Callista had the chance to catch up with Russ Rose and Mark Pavlik to talk about their Olympians.
Penn State is no stranger to great volleyball. Now former players Megan Hodge, Krista Hermato, and Matt Anderson are making their mark on the international stage after being selected to the U.S. Olympic team. Hermato and Hodge are the first girls for PSU coach Russ Rose to head to the Olympics, and he knows that it's an honor.
We've had a number of players over the course of my career here that have been on the roster but didn't make the final cut. So it's certainly exciting for those two individuals and their families and fans of Penn State volleyball.
While Hodge and Hermato were selected to the 12-person roster, former players Alicia Glass and Nicole Fawcett were chosen as alternates. Those four girls played a major role during Penn State's historic run of 4 straight national titles, and their success in pressure-packed environments make them ideal players for the Olympic team.
To succeed at the college level or professionally or hopefully at the Olympics, a lot of it is you have to be healthy, you have to be focused, you have to be a good teammate at the right time, and you have to be ready to play. Krista was one of the most enthusiastic, energetic players that just always had a smile, and Megan came in the door and was a 4-time All-American. So she had great skills. You know, I think that you know, those two individuals, as well as the other two players that we had on the team, you know, Nicole Fawcett and Alicia Glass, were also individuals that if they don't make, you know, they didn't make this Olympic roster, I would expect them, and Blair Brown and Ari Wilson, to make future rosters if that's what they want to do.
Not to be forgotten from the PSU family is Matt Anderson, a former National Player of the Year, and Max Holt. Anderson was chosen to the 12-man roster for London, and Holt was selected as a replacement. It's clear Coach Mark Pavlik couldn't be happier for his former stars.
Collegiately, they were two of the best collegiate performers of their 4-year era. We were part of that, just like their high school coaches were, just like their club coaches were. And on top of that, they're two great guys. I miss them more as people than I do as players. Although there are times during matches I wish I had them as players, but for the most part, Max and Maddie are just two special individuals that will always be Nittany Lions as far as I'm concerned.
Pav also knows a player better be committed to make the Olympic squad.
It's the ultimate in being a professional. You've got to be committed to being a professional. You've got to take care of your body. You've got to make sure that everything you do points you in the direction of being a great volleyball player, points you in the direction of being an Olympian.
That commitment developed a versatility Team USA was looking for.
They've gotten stronger. They can score points in so many different ways for a team that there just isn't one particular way, and that's what I think makes them very valuable.
Asked if he could picture a perfect gold medal point, Coach Pav traded in his blue and white goggles for a red, white, and blue pair.
It would be nice if Maddie put a ball away. It'd be nice if Maddie had an ace, but just to see the fact that Maddie will be celebrating with his team probably gives me more of a thrill than anything else. And watching the guys storm the court just with that unbridled joy of all their hard work coming through for them and them enjoying it as a team.
And while Coach Rose stopped short of a prediction for the women, he said there is a reason for Team USA's success.
They have to want to do it. It's a hard task. You know, they've put a lot of time in and a lot of years, and they've made a full commitment and working. You know, it's a full-time job. You know, they play in the pro leagues, and when they come back, they go to the national team, and the national team is a full-time commitment, and they have great coaches, and they play with some of the best players in the world. You know, there's a reason that the United States is ranked as the top team in the world right now.
Here's to a double gold in London. For the center of it all, I'm Andrew Callista.
Penn State will be well represented in the Olympics, with 19 current or former student athletes competing in the Games. Pennsylvania itself will have 35 athletes representing Team USA, which is tied with New York for the second most. When the center of it all returns, Mel has 2 great blueberry recipes. In today's edition of Kitchen Encounters, our resident foodie, Mel Prosciutti, has a couple of great dishes involving blueberries.
It's the peak of the summer season, and we have a heat wave to prove it. If you're like me, you're looking for quick ways to feed your family and beat the heat too. Today, I'm going to show you how to make a cool watermelon, blueberry, and kiwi salad with a white balsamic vinaigrette and a luscious blueberry bread pudding that can be put together in less than 5 minutes. Let's get started. Bread pudding is multicultural. It was invented by frugal cooks in ancient times who wanted to find a use for stale bread. Any kind of bread can be used to make bread pudding, but it really does need to be 2 or 3 days old. While most of us associate bread pudding with dessert, there are savory main course versions too that include meats, cheeses, and vegetables. We're making a dessert today, and I'm using brioche. I've taken 8 2-cup ramekins and sprayed them with some no-stick spray. But if you don't have ramekins, that's fine. A 9x13 casserole will work great. I've cubed a 1-pound loaf of brioche, and what I've done is I've put about 3/4 of a cup, or halfway up the side of the ramekin, I've filled them with bread cubes. Then what I've done is I've put a 1/2 cup of fresh blueberries on top of the bread cubes, which I'm adding here. Just want to push down on these a little bit to make sure you had some headspace. And next I'm going to top all of these off with about another half a cup of bread. This is such a quick and easy recipe, and everybody just loves bread pudding. Now, next little tip I have, and you don't have to do this, but because bread pudding browns on the top, I like to just take a minute and turn any of the crusts upside down. And that way we won't have anything that browns too much or burns. It's time to make our custard. Making the custard couldn't be easier. I like to mix it up in a nice big measuring container with a pourer spout, which is going to make it really easy to pour into these individual ramekins. What I'm doing here is I'm whisking 4 egg yolks and 8 eggs, large, thoroughly in this container. I'm going to add about a tablespoon of vanilla and 2 teaspoons of lemon extract and 2 cups of cream, the real deal. Stir that around. Oh, that smells good. I can smell that lemon and vanilla. And now I'm going to mix in 1 cup of sugar. Now this will take a minute or so because you really, really do want to make sure that these ingredients are thoroughly mixed and thin. Oh, that's looking really nice. Now for the fun part. Take my whisk out. And I'm going to drizzle all of my custard into my ramekins. And you want to do this really slow to give all of this lovely custard mixture. Stop if it looks like it's going to go over the sides. Give it plenty of time to drizzle its way down through all of those nooks and crannies. I used to love when my grandmother made bread pudding. She used to put raisins and nuts in hers too, which are options. And don't worry if some of this drizzles out over the sides a little bit, because when these puff up and bake, a lot of the blueberry juices and the custard are kind of gonna, I don't know what the word for it is, they're kind of gonna bubble up and ooze down the sides of these ramekins anyway. Now you'll know when they're full. You'll start, it's kind of hard for you to see, but I can see the custard coming up. Like this one is just about done. The custard's near the fill line of the ramekin. And the fill line is actually this little lip around the outside. Okay, we're just about there. A little bit more in this one. A little bit more in this one. This is not an exact science, but it is fun. Now I'm going to sprinkle these with some good old-fashioned cinnamon sugar, the same kind we used to put on our cinnamon toast when we were kids. As much or as little as you want. I like a lot. Now I'm going to pop these in the oven at 350 degrees for 40 minutes, and while they bake, we're going to make our salad. Making the balsamic vinaigrette couldn't be easier. I'm going to put 1 cup of white balsamic vinegar in a bowl or a measuring container. And the reason I'm using white balsamic vinegar instead of dark balsamic vinegar today is white balsamic vinegar isn't going to discolor my salad or the chicken that I'm going to serve with this dish tonight. I'm going to add 1/2 cup of vegetable oil. Not quite a half yet. 1/2 cup of sugar. And 2 generous tablespoons of Dijon mustard. Now I'm adding the Dijon mustard because when this is all whisked together, it's going to keep it emulsified for a really long time, which means it's not going to separate out. And it's also going to give it a really nice tang. That looks great. Now you can just keep it in a container like this, but to store it in the refrigerator or add it to the salad, I like to transfer it to a nice plastic shaker container, which makes it really easy to pour when it comes time to serve. We're going to start with a 10 to an 11 pound seedless watermelon. Now just because it says seedless doesn't mean there's absolutely no seeds in them. They're just smaller and softer and easily digested, which means you don't have to pick the seeds out. You can chunk your watermelon into 1.5 to 2 inch cubes any way you want. But a fun touch that I like to do is I like to slice my watermelon into slices, and I like to use a little cookie cutter and make these fun little hearts. This goes really fast, and your kids will get into this. If you do the slices, now sometimes one will get stuck like that and you just push it out the other end. My watermelon is all sliced in a big bowl, and this is about 12 cups of watermelon. I'm going to add 2 cups of blueberries. I'm going to add 6 or 7 kiwi that have been peeled or sliced. If you don't like kiwi, or even if you have an allergy to them, feel free to substitute strawberries. About 1.5 to 2 cups of red onion. Yes, onion with our fruit. You're gonna love it, trust me. This is 1 cup of feta cheese that's been cubed, and I'm only gonna add half of it now. We're gonna use the other half to garnish the salad. And this is 1 cup of lightly toasted walnuts, and I'm going to do the same. I'm gonna add half and garnish with half. Add about half of my dressing, 1/2 of it, or about 1 cup. Because the other half is going on my chicken tonight. We're going to toss this together. And when I'm done tossing this all together, I'm going to cover it with plastic wrap, and I'm going to put it in the refrigerator for 3 to 4 hours. And when we come back, it's time to eat. This has been a banner year for blueberries, and the ones I used today came out of my backyard. But they're available in grocery stores and local farmers markets everywhere. For 3 more of my blueberry recipes, blueberry pie, blueberry buckle, which is a coffee cake, and blueberry jam, just go to my website.
For this and all of Mel's great recipes, log on to kitchenencounters.typepad.com. Up next, The Dark Knight Rises. Welcome back to the center of it all. Batman The Dark Knight Rises opened recently to great fanfare, and Alex Rabb caught the summer blockbuster on opening night.
The Caped Crusader, the Masked Murderer, Bats. You know who I'm talking about. The conclusion to Christopher Nolan's Batman trilogy, The Dark Knight Rises, is one of 2012's most anticipated releases. With a cast consisting of Christian Bale, Tom Hardy, Anne Hathaway, and Joseph Gordon-Levitt, who's going to be mad? Certainly not I. The Dark Knight Rises opened July 20th at midnight. Plenty of people were excitedly waiting to get in, waiting for their drinks and snacks. Some were even in costume. The first installment of this trilogy came out in 2005 with Batman Begins. The film became a box office hit, ranking as the 8th highest grossing film of 2005 in the United States and the 9th highest grossing worldwide. In 2006, The Dark Knight was confirmed as the sequel to be released in 2008, with Heath Ledger playing Batman's archenemy, the Joker. It also had an enormous box office success, winning awards and setting new records. The Dark Knight Rises concludes Nolan's trilogy. With 8 years passing since the events of The Dark Knight, organized crime was almost eradicated. And not to give away the plot of the movie, new villains appear and Gotham is in great peril.
To see what and who Batman goes head-to-head with this summer, check out The Dark Knight Rises. As a fan of the comics and the movies, I know I wasn't disappointed.
And get in the spirit by heading to Hot Topic or Journeys for various types of apparel, from wallets to hoodies, to shirts down to your socks and shoes. For the center of it all, I'm Alex Rabb.
You know, that really looks like a great movie. And from the Batmobile to the E-Highway, in today's final story, we'll show you how a pilot program in California is focused on cutting emissions from heavy-duty vehicles.
When most people think of vehicle emissions, they assume cars do most of the damage. But environmental advocates say it's actually commercial trucks that are largely to blame. By 2050, freight transportation on U.S. roadways is expected to double, while global oil resources continue to deplete. By 2030, carbon dioxide emissions are forecasted to jump 30% due to freight transport. These figures are pushing many electric vehicle proponents to find better zero-emission solutions for heavy-duty vehicles. One of them, called E-Highway, is a concept being touted at the 26th Annual Electric Vehicle Symposium in Los Angeles, and it's an idea that's being considered now as a pilot project in Southern California. For the center of it all, I'm Wilson Magua.
Well, this puts a lid on another edition of The Center of It All. But don't forget to like WHVL on Facebook and follow us on Twitter. Have a great day, everyone.